A lot of great books came out this week, and I picked up most of them, so buckle in everybody, this is going to be a long one. What's up everybody, I'm Stan and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is Shelf Appeal, the weekly review show where I go over the books that I picked up and give you an idea as to whether there's something that you should go back to the comic book shop for or not. To start things off, we're going to hit up the first real book that I read, and that is Justice League number 5. I didn't really have high hopes for Justice League, and to be honest with you, it's still a book that I'm probably going to be dropping after this issue. The conclusion to this arc was extremely convenient, and overall, everything about this was just it was underperforming. It was underwhelming. It wasn't really anything that I was going to continue to read, and I might have been a little bit biased going into it, but it didn't do anything to dissuade me. Also, it introduced this thing called the Forever Crisis, so until I hear something come up about that in other books, I'm probably going to keep it on, hold. Next, we get to another book we've been waiting on for a while, and that is Civil War II, issue number 5. So I can understand the delays. David Marquez had a baby, so that's awesome for him. And I've really been waiting for this book to see if there's any reason for me to continue reading it. And what I found in this issue is no. I don't know what Marvel's doing with this event, and it's clear that it was written for a time that's not relating to now, because the continuity is completely messed up in regards to every other book that's in the Marvel Universe. However, there are a few books in Marvel that are kicking around that I really like, and that starts with Mighty Thor, issue number 11. So Mighty Thor is a continuation of this kind of debut of Jane Foster next to Thor, and what we find is that it's not really Jane Foster at all. In fact, it's the embodiment, it's the magical energy that has been created by Thor's hammer Mjolnir. And what this does is it kicks off an untold origin story for Thor's hammer Mjolnir, which should be pretty awesome in next issue. So I'm really looking forward to that. Overall, good issue to wrap up the previous Roxxon arc and give us some anticipation into what's coming next. And what's coming next is a great book by Jerry Conway, and that's Carnage issue number 12. So Carnage is a story about a character that's really best served, hacking and slashing and cutting people to bits. And he does plenty of that in this book, but we actually see, probably in my memory, the first real character development that Cletus Cassidy has ever had. And I mean, that's extremely interesting in my perspective. Jerry Conway does a great job using, mental kind of synchronicity with the Carnage character to relay these times in Cletus's life. The time that he killed his grandma, the time that his dad killed his mom, the time that Eddie Brock beat his ass in prison. This is a really good book, and I'm really sad to see it go after issue 16, but I'm pumped for the next few as they're going to kind of wrap up this storyline. Another storyline that wrapped up really nicely is going to be All New Wolverine issue number 12. We do get kind of some inclination that Laura Kinney is going to be removing herself from any future Marvel conflict, so she's not going to be involved in Civil War II and anything else regarding that, and possibly kind of going on the run. So that's going to be cool. And we already know that it's going to tie into the second Enemy of the State storyline, which starts next issue. So it's a great jumping on point for people that want to get on board with Wolverine. Next issue, issue 13, that's the one. And now that we are done with Civil War II entirely, we can go to Amazing Spider-Man issue number 18. So this is not a Peter Parker story. Just like the previous issue wasn't a Peter Parker story, this is continuing that same trend, and this is all about Doctor Octopus. So, who's the man that's been behind the scenes the entire time since Peter regained his body? The living brain powered by Doctor Octopus's consciousness. He has been the man that's making Peter Parker, Parker Industries, a global conglomerate, and orchestrating this entire thing in an attempt to get Peter Parker's body back. And now that he's kind of, got a plan, he's got a mission in mind after being thwarted in his original attempts, we're going to see where this really starts to kick off for the brand new Doctor Octopus, whoever that might be and whoever's body he might be in. Now I'm going to wrap up my Marvel section with my favorite book of the week, well, from Marvel anyway, and that's The Vision. So this is issue number 11 of The Vision, and we just see him completely wreck superhero house. He goes out, he kicks everyone's ass. Tom King writes a really simple but brilliant script. We see the emotions that are really a very big surprise when it comes to a synthezoid-style family, and ultimately Virginia comes in with her redemption moment. So I am so sad to see this book go after the next issue, but it must come to an end. All good things and whatnot. So definitely go buy The Vision, read The Vision, pick up The Vision. It is one of the best books that is currently being written today, and it's only out for one more issue. So pick up the trade, pick up back issues, do whatever you can to read this book. Now we're going to leave Marvel for a little bit and end up at Dark Horse with Black Hammer number 3. So this takes a little bit closer look at Barbalian, basically the Martian Manhunter kind of symbolism that's going on in this particular book, and the complicated relationship that he's had with humanity as well as his own particular race. Overall, I think Jeff Lemire is a great writer, and I can't wait to see how some of the other personalizations come out, because there's some very interesting characteristics of Barbalian that come out that are, they might not be for everybody, but I'm totally behind it. Good storytelling is all that's important, and right now I'm very intrigued by the story that Black Hammer is telling. Definitely a pickup that I recommend. Let's hop on over to Icon, which is actually a Marvel imprint, so I'm probably not done with Marvel, and that's Empress number 6. So this is getting close to the conclusion of the first arc for Empress, and what we see is that in a very dashing fashion, Emporia and Dane come in and rescue the children, and they're off to see your sister, and oh my god, everybody is in the home stretch, everything's going to be fantastic, until... And, there's a great little twist with the family characters that I really like, and then the fact that it's a really obvious twist with the daughter. It's something that's totally telegraphed, completely expected, and even our main villain completely understands that. Still, it's a book that I really appreciate. Probably it's something that a lot of people would enjoy, but I don't necessarily know if it's for everybody. Now we're going to head into DC for the home stretch with Harley Quinn number 4. So this is the variant cover from Bill Sienkiewicz, and overall, this is the book that made me decide that I'm probably not going to be a reader for Harley Quinn. It's just not the audience. Met Amanda Conner, met Jimmy Palmiotti. They're great. The art's cool. It's just that I don't connect with the story, and if I don't connect with the story, I'm probably not going to be picking up a book. That's not to say that it's not for people out there. It's definitely something that if you're a fan of Deadpool or that kind of comedy that goes along with it, she's got a great following for the character. It's just not quite my cup of tea, and this is the book that made me realize that. However, a book that I am definitely going to continue picking up is going to be Green Arrow. So Green Arrow number 7 kind of gets me in the Emmy Queen storyline, and it finishes it up. And what we really see is that Emmy Queen is a very scary person. She has absolutely no reservations about tackling the toughest tasks and even putting her own life on the line to try and save the people that she cares about. Shadow, her mother, and then Oliver Queen, her brother. Stephen Byrne does a great job with the art. Definitely a book that I'm continuing to pick up and I recommend for everybody. Even though this last 2-issue arc, it was a little slow. It wasn't quite up to snuff for the first 5. But then we get to the best Superman story I have ever read in my entire life. So I say that, and you can take it with a grain of salt, because I haven't read many Superman stories. I don't really care for the character that much, but, Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Leeson, they're doing a number on this one. And the reason I connect so much with Superman number 7 is because this is a down-home country family, born and raised on a farm kind of people going to county fair. So it's Superman, his wife, and his super son trying to blend in and be as normal people as possible at a county fair in the middle of bum-F nowhere. And it's awesome. I just love the texture of it. I love the feelings. I love the sensations. I love the fact that Clark Kent rolls up to his family and is just like, nope, no Supermaning for the rest of the day. And Lois is just like, oh, okay, sure, And then when we see the conclusion at the end as they're climbing up the roller coaster, the I love the faces that Clark and Lois make as the news of this averted problem comes over the loudspeaker on accident. And it's super entertaining. It's a great little one-shot story. And like I said, it's why Superman is one of the best books running out there right now. Next from DC, we're going to hop into a 2-parter that I'm probably going to do a full review on. And that is going to be Batman number 7. So this is part 1 of Night of the Monster Men. And the first thing that you notice when you pick up this book is not just the art change. The difference in art style is very apparent. However, it's also the change in voice, the change in tone that's coming from the characters. And it's clear that somebody besides Tom King is, working these kind of things in there. So it's not quite what you would expect after reading the I Am Gotham storyline and the one-shot, and it's very apparent. This is going to be one really, really shitty night for Batman and the Bat family. And it starts in this book, and we get an impression that Batman, after the death of Tim Drake, so it's all one universe, this carries over from the Detective Comics series, the death of Tim Drake, is weighing very heavily on Batman's conscience, and it's making him choose various things. His decision-making process has clearly been impacted by that. But that means that we lead into what is Nightwing number 5, which is Night of the Monster Men Part 2. So since these came out this week, you've got 2 parts of a 6-part series that are coming out, and so you got to pick them both up if you want to be, in the know for this whole situation. And what Nightwing does is it introduces us to what I would consider an honorary member of the Bat family for this point in time, whether they want her or not, and that's Gotham Girl. So she is making her appearance, and she is going to join the fray, regardless of what it does to her, regardless of what the consequences are. She feels the need to help people. She can hear the screams. She can smell the blood of these people being torn asunder by these monsters. And overall, she is out there, but I'm interested to see where the rest of this goes. I'm interested to see how it pans out overall. Now to wrap things up, we're going to hit the new releases for this week. So these are all new number 1s. And the first one I'm going to talk about is 7 to Eternity number 1. So this is a Rick Remender book from Image, and Jerome Opna is just crushing it on the art. The art is amazing in this thing. And the big problem, and you can say it's a problem, you can say it's not, but Rick Remender has a very serious entry level. He's got a fast learning curve when it comes to this because there's very little in the way of world building that goes on in this book. There's a single page with a bunch of text on it. Immediately you're thrust into a world that you don't understand, and you have to try to piece these things together from all the kind of contextual clues that go on around you. I'm stoked to see where it goes. It's a very interesting kind of concept, and how somebody has risen to power using basically fear and misinformation. It's very topical, but it's set in a fantastical kind of world, and the art. It's just about the art, even if you don't like the story half as much as I do. It's still great to look at, and that's awesome. Another new book that came out this week is Trinity number 1, or as I like to call it, The Super Best Friends. So, this is a very cool book simply because Lois invites Wonder Woman and Batman to dinner. And Wonder Woman comes out of the invisible jet carrying a damn giant wild boar over her shoulder in a very Amazonian and wonderful way. And Batman leaps out of the Batplane, followed by a trail of bats. Like he just stores them in the cargo hold somewhere. So it's just fantastical and ridiculous. And this is all about joining these characters up. It feels like it's not going to be a book that's going to continue for long. It's probably a part of a 5 or 6-part series. But overall, this is about making this new Superman, this new old Superman, join up and become one with this previous group, with this Batman and with this Wonder Woman, having them have an understanding and becoming better together. So that's a very cool message that's going along with the book. Definitely something that I'd recommend picking up. And finally, we're going to talk about Raven number 1. So Raven number 1 is written by Marv Wolfman, and this is a book about a daughter of a demon going to high school in San Francisco. She has, a lady of darkness, pure goth, moving in with a bunch of very Christian and loving, God-fearing people, and now she's in San Francisco. There's a whole bunch of ridiculousness on it, and my favorite thing about this is the fact that the cover doesn't have DC Rebirth on it, so I can't wait to see when all those DC Rebirth banners are just going to be gone. Because it ruins a little bit of the art style, man. I get the unifying marketing thing, but it just kills the cover art for me. It's crazy. So Raven's a Teen Titans character. This is a transition piece between Teen Titans 24 and Teen Titans Rebirth, which is coming out in the next week or the month or so. And this is kind of a little mini story for her. So it's going to be interesting for people that are fans of the character, but it's probably not something I'm going to see all the way through to the end. So those are all the books that I picked up this week, but I want to know what you guys grabbed too. So hit me up in the comments down below, and we can start chatting about what books were good and what weren't. As always, if you like what you see, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.